Look at this girl. She is lying on the ground, crying uncontrollably. That heartbreaking sound of crying is truly painful to hear. You may wonder what exactly happened to this girl. It turns out that this girl and her boyfriend had been together for 8 years. They went through many rounds of emotional adjustment and conflict. Finally, they reached the stage of discussing marriage. But who would have expected this? The woman's parents made their demands. They wanted the man's family to buy an apartment in the city. And they also asked for 480,000 yuan in bride price. As for buying an apartment in the city, the man's parents did not object. Because according to local customs, if a family wants to marry a daughter-in-law, they need to buy an apartment in the city. But 480,000 yuan in bride price was something the man's family truly could not afford. The man's parents tried to discuss it kindly. They asked whether the bride price could be reduced a little. But who would have expected that the woman's parents firmly refused? They said 480,000 yuan could not be reduced by even 1 cent. They said this was the market price. They said they were not asking for an unreasonable amount. Because of the bride price, the two families reached a deadlock. The young man became anxious, so he borrowed money from everywhere and finally managed to gather 380,000 yuan. But when the young man brought that 380,000 yuan to his future father-in-law and mother-in-law, they still said no, not 1 cent less. They said what they wanted was an attitude. But what kind of attitude is this? This is not asking for attitude. This is asking for the life of the man's entire family. After seeing that compromise again and again was useless, the young man finally gave up on this relationship. After the two broke up, the young man's parents began arranging blind dates for their son. Very quickly, there was another girl willing to marry him. After this girl heard the news, she went to her best friend to complain. The more she talked, the sadder she became. In the end, the scene in the video happened. She collapsed on the ground and cried uncontrollably. No matter how her best friend tried to comfort her, it did not work. Her best friend also did not know how to persuade her, so she simply filmed the video and posted it online. According to the information revealed by her best friend, this girl usually had no voice at home in front of her parents. So when her parents demanded the bride price, this girl could not help her boyfriend at all. And the most important detail is this. This girl has a younger brother. Now everything becomes easy to understand. The matter is actually very simple. The girl's parents wanted to sell their daughter for a good price. Then they would have money to prepare the bride price for their son. I have to say, families like this today are truly a tragedy for women. In the eyes of these parents, a daughter is just a product with a price tag. As for what their daughter's happiness is, the parents do not consider it at all. The only thing they consider is the bright future of their son. As for the daughter, they must maximize her value as much as possible. If they can sell her for 1 more cent, then they will sell her for 1 more cent. I only hope that their son will understand his parents' so-called painstaking effort. And when they are old and can no longer walk, perhaps he will still reward them with a mouthful of food. Everyone has noticed it, right? Nowadays, there are more and more older, unmarried women in society. Many women reach 30 years old or even past 35 and still are not willing to get married. If we say that the pace of life in the city is too fast and people are busy fighting for their careers so they have no time to date, that is still understandable. But now, even in rural areas, there are also quite a few older, unmarried women. During the National Day holiday, I went back to my hometown, and I felt this very deeply. I remember that a few years ago, the National Day holiday was basically the golden week for weddings. Every morning, I would be woken up by the sound of firecrackers from wedding processions. But this year, things were different. During the entire 8-day holiday, only 2 families in total held weddings. Now in the village, there are many unmarried men from 25 or 26 years old all the way to 35 or 36. Logically speaking, living conditions are much better now. But even if a family has a house and a car, it is still difficult to find a wife. Actually, the reason is not hard to understand. It is very realistic. Some girls went to university and chose to go to big cities to build their careers. Even those who did not go to university also went to big cities to work. They yearn more for life in the city. They do not want to return to the countryside anymore. Naturally, they also will not go back to their hometown to find a partner and get married. One of my female college classmates was once a close friend from the same dormitory. Some time ago, we met again at a dormitory reunion. Her career has been very successful. She works in a public institution and holds a fairly high position. Although she is no longer young ever since her last breakup, she has been single for 5 or 6 years. By normal standards, her conditions are quite good. She is very pretty. She also has a good figure. So everyone discussed introducing a boyfriend to her. We wanted to hear what her requirements were. She said that she did not have many requirements, just a few points. First, she has a master's degree, so the other person must also have at least a master's degree. His age must not be over 45. He can have been married before, but he cannot have children. Her annual income is 200,000 yuan, so the other person's annual income must be higher than 200,000 yuan. She also requires the other person to have a house of more than 100 square meters, and preferably there should be no mortgage. After hearing her requirements, everyone was speechless. Everyone immediately gave up the idea of introducing someone to her, and we finally understood why she had been single all this time. Let's not even talk about whether it is easy to find someone who meets all these conditions. Even if such a man is found, why would he necessarily choose her? Why would he not find a more obedient young girl in her 20s? The reason this kind of older, unmarried woman remains single is that she always believes the man must be stronger than her. He must have a higher education than her. He must earn more than her. If some of his conditions are worse than hers, she will feel that she is losing out. Because of this, she may overlook qualities that truly matter in a good man, such as good character, a strong sense of responsibility, and ambition. In today's society, older, unmarried women are becoming increasingly common. One of the biggest reasons is that many women hold unrealistic fantasies. I do not know whether they have watched too many idol dramas or drunk too much poisonous motivational chicken soup. Their minds are full of fantasies like a tall, rich, handsome man falling in love with a simple, sweet girl, or a domineering CEO falling in love with them. Because of this, they would rather stay single than face reality. And just like that, year after year, they successfully turn themselves into older, unmarried women. Moreover, even if they really find an ideal man who meets all their conditions, will the foundation of such a relationship truly be stable? How long can it actually last? In short, aiming too high, refusing what is below, and still holding unrealistic fantasies are the main reasons why older, unmarried women have become so common. What about you in front of the screen? Are there older, unmarried women around you? What do you think is the reason they became older, unmarried women? Welcome to leave your thoughts in the comment section and discuss it together. If you like my video, please take a moment to give it a like and support me. Follow me. Every day, I will share topics that ordinary people care about. See you in the next video. 3 matchmakers and 6 betrothal gifts. A formal marriage arranged through proper matchmakers has always been a traditional Chinese custom, and bride price has always been the most important matter. Before National Day, I actually attended my own younger sister's wedding. During the process, we also encountered many issues. You could say that almost no wedding can truly be perfectly complete from beginning to end. Many times, both families are holding resentment in their hearts, but they cannot say it openly. There are also many couples who end up completely breaking off negotiations at the final stage. And the most common, most important reason is that the bride price cannot be agreed upon. So how should bride price be discussed so that the conversation goes well and does not damage the relationship between both families? Today, I will explain everything clearly in one video. Unmarried young men, or men who are currently preparing for marriage, must save this first. The first point is also the foundation for all the following points. That is, both sides must first have sincerity toward the marriage itself. Money is secondary. The willingness and sincerity of both sides to get married are the most important things. Second, before the parents from both families meet, the young couple must privately discuss the bride price amount first. They need to reach an agreement. Then, each person should go back and communicate with their own parents. They must also gain their parents' approval. Only after that should both families' parents meet. If the two of you have not discussed it privately beforehand, then after the parents meet, one side quotes a price and the other side tries to bargain right there. The scene will become extremely awkward, and the probability of the discussion collapsing will be very high. Third, who should bring up the bride price first? Pay attention here. Bride price is a gift from the man's side, so the man's side should take the initiative to bring it up. For the woman's side, you must wait for the man's side to speak first. Do not mess up the subject, the predicate, and the object. This is the man's sincerity, and the woman's side should give them respect. Fourth, when discussing bride price, what behaviors should be avoided? The first is raising the price at the last minute and failing to keep your word. A few days ago, there was the case of a young man from Shanxi who canceled the engagement and then used the returned bride price to travel. That was a very typical example. The second is having an overly forceful attitude. The most taboo sentence is this: not 1 cent less. Or when the woman's side says, if my daughter marries into your family and you treat her badly, then I will do this and that. If it is said in a joking tone, we can understand it. But if it is said in a threatening and aggressive tone, then it will definitely affect a relationship between the two people. Think about it. Is that not true? The final point is this. If during the process of discussing bride price, both sides have opinions or small disagreements, then the couple must step in and stop things from escalating in time. Each person should help smooth things over with their own parents. They need to play a buffering and lubricating role in the middle. If you think this is useful, make sure to like and save it first. Or you can forward it to the brothers and friends around you who are about to get married. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. There are more and more older, unmarried women who cannot marry. I have to say, the motivational chicken soup nowadays has truly become more and more poisonous. Some so-called fairy-like women claim that men are useless. They belittle men until men seem completely worthless. They say I can earn money myself. I can wash clothes and cook. I can even have children by myself. So what do I need a man for? You spend men's money while saying men are useless. That skin is really thick enough. Then let me argue this out with you. The happy and stable life you have today, does it have nothing to do with men's contributions? When it comes to defending the home and the country rushing into danger and always standing on the front line, are most of those people not men? All kinds of dirty work, exhausting work, and every convenience we enjoy today. Which one can truly be separated from men? The boxed meals on the roadside that cost 10 yuan, are they not mostly eaten by men? As for women, it is either coffee or milk tea. I think you have lived too comfortably for too long. You think you are yi hai yang. You think you can have children without relying on men. But do you even look at her strength? You dare compare yourself to her. On what basis? A monthly income of 2,000 or 3,000 yuan gives you that much confidence. You buy yourself lipstick for 9 yuan and 9 cents, but you expect a man to buy you a bag worth 10,000 yuan? So it is not that you do not need men. You only need rich men. But rich men do not look at you. So you cannot eat the grapes and then you say the grapes are sour. Can we stop being stubborn? You say you can wash clothes and cook? My goodness, you really do not blush when you lie. A person who never touches housework is pretending over there. In front of others, you dress yourself up beautifully and glamorously. But in reality, your home is extremely messy. It is truly embarrassing. You drink those poisonous motivational speeches and lift yourself up to the clouds while stepping on men under your feet. Sooner or later, you will regret it. I advise some of these so-called fairy women. If you personally choose not to marry and not to have children, that is fine. We all respect you. But when you make extreme statements saying men are useless, that is truly too much. If your old father heard that, he would probably want to slap you. Now a group of married women feel a little wronged and immediately want a divorce. After drinking all that motivational poison, they become so proud that they no longer know their own real weight. And some unmarried fairy women follow along blindly. They waste their youth for nothing. They miss the best age for marriage. In the end, they become old women who cannot even support themselves with no one to rely on. Perhaps the nursing home will become their final destination. The era of a female bachelor crisis may be coming. Are so-called high-quality leftover women really high quality? They speak arrogantly and say that no man is worthy of them. If they are truly so high quality, then why can they not get married? In my opinion, they are like grasshoppers after autumn. They cannot jump for many more days. Cross-border marriages becoming mainstream may only be a matter of time. Foreign girls are not only beautiful and kind, but they also do not use childbirth to threaten men. They also will not use sky-high bride prices to suppress men. As the saying goes, poisonous chicken soup is worse than arsenic. It leads people's values astray and lowers their intelligence. But these older, unmarried women just love drinking this bowl of soup. They aim too high and refuse anything low. Every day they are intoxicated with themselves and feel that ordinary men are not worthy of them. They believe only high-quality men are a match for them. I advise these leftover women to quickly drain the water from their brains. Where in the world is there anything perfectly complete? Let me say something that hurts. Family members urging you to marry is not scary. Coming home alone after work, lonely and without companionship, is also not the scariest thing. The scariest thing is this. When you finally make up your mind to find a partner, you discover that because your standards were too high, there is no one suitable at all. After great difficulty, you finally meet a man who satisfies you. But he does not look at you at all. He turns around and finds another woman who is younger and prettier. What is even more devastating is this. When you finally think things through and actively lower your standards, height no longer matters. Appearance no longer matters. Income no longer matters. No house and no car are also acceptable. Even then, you find that the other side still does not want you. Is that not sad and pitiful? Really stop fantasizing about the past when men chased after you desperately and refused to let go. That scene no longer exists. And do not think that as long as you dress up a little and take the initiative, you will definitely escape being single. Age is sitting right there. Weight can change. Temperament can also improve. But time is the only thing that cannot be reversed. Youth is very precious for women. When you become old and faded and still want to compete with young and beautiful girls for high-quality men, that is simply wishful thinking. What is even more heartbreaking are those older, unmarried women who have struggled for many years and still achieved nothing. Their youth is gone. They did not earn money. They did not buy a house. They did not marry. And before they could marry, they were already old. By then, even if they offer themselves for free, no one may want them. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me. Another female friend of mine broke off negotiations with her future in-laws because of the bride price. It is really tragic. This friend is 29 this year. She can already be considered an older, unmarried woman. After finally meeting a man and deciding to get married, the two families ended up failing to reach an agreement over the bride price. And just like that, the whole thing collapsed. I really do not know how many couples nowadays have gone through so many ups and downs together only to break up when they reach the stage of discussing bride price. Actually, the matter was very simple. The couple discussed marriage. The woman's family asked the man's family to pay the down payment for a house and also asked for 180,000 yuan in bride price. The man's parents said that 180,000 yuan in bride price was fine, but the woman's family should also provide a car as dowry. And when the time came, the bride price would be given back to the young couple, so they could use it for their future life. The woman's family refused. They said, "We are marrying off our daughter, and you still want us to provide a car as dowry? And you also want us to return the bride price. Impossible." In the end, the negotiation collapsed just like that. I really cannot hold back anymore. Today, let's talk about bride price. Many families on the woman's side feel that they raised their daughter and spent money on her. Now that she is grown up and married off, they feel that a married daughter is like water poured out. They feel they are losing out. So they think asking the groom's family for some bride price is no big deal. But let me ask you this. You spent money raising your daughter. Did the other family not spend money raising their son? It is not that bride price should not exist. Bride price is a tradition passed down from ancient times. Bride price is also meant to bring good fortune and a good symbolic meaning, but it should still be based on what people can afford. If it becomes endless comparison vanity and showing off, then are you marrying off your daughter? Or are you selling your daughter? I once saw a very ridiculous case. A couple was getting married. The young man's family conditions were not good, but the woman's family insisted on a bride price of 120,000 yuan. And what happened in the end? The young couple used credit cards and small loans to put together the bride price. After getting married, the two of them had to repay the debt together. It took them several years to finally pay it off. At that point, were they not just working for the bride's own mother? Let me ask that mother-in-law. Was it meaningful for you to take that bride price? The true meaning of bride price should be that two families encourage the creation of a new young family. I believe the bride price should be given to the young couple. They have just entered society and do not have much savings. After getting married, they may soon have children. In the future, there will be many places where money is needed for the child. The amount of bride price should also be decided according to the family's financial situation. If the man's family is well off, they can give more. If the family is not well off, then a symbolic amount is enough. Many mothers-in-law worry that marrying off a daughter is a one-time deal. They think that after marriage, their daughter will no longer belong to their own family. But I want to ask this. How many daughters nowadays get married and then completely stop caring about their own parents? I cannot speak clearly about every specific place. But in my maternal grandmother's family, the most filial people were my mother and several of my aunts. Those who had money gave money. Those who had strength gave effort. At least in the final years of my grandfather and grandmother, they were not left hungry or cold. Both of them lived into their 80s or 90s before passing away. So what do you think about the issue of bride price? Welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments section and discuss it together. Hello everyone! Today I want to talk with you about unmarried women in Beijing. Older unmarried women in Beijing are already close to 1 million. For women hoping to change their destiny through marriage is actually not wrong. But at least more than half of ordinary women under the influence of irresponsible media and feel-good fantasy articles have developed a misplaced understanding of themselves. They cannot face themselves clearly. They look down on men from the same social class, and then they hope that men 1 or 2 classes above them will come and worship them. Slowly, of course, it becomes harder and harder to find a partner. In today's society, for many people, even maintaining their current social class and not falling downward is already very difficult. You can see this very clearly from many marriage-seeking and dating posts. The difference between men and women in dating and marriage posts is truly huge. Men can usually be more flexible downward. They may care most about 1 or 2 key points and insist on those. For the other conditions, they can relax their standards. But women's requirements for men are different. For every condition, their minimum requirement is that the man must be roughly equal to them. And for the 2 most important points, they want the man to be 1 or 2 levels above them. When everything is added together, it means the man must clearly be better than them before they feel satisfied. This is actually one major reason why a large number of unmarried women cannot find partners. This is indeed related to women's instinctive attraction toward strength. Women want to find someone stronger than themselves. Because women are naturally physically weaker, especially in the past. Whether in hunting times or agricultural society, physical strength was very important. So if a woman finds a man weaker than herself, her instincts will tell her that survival may become difficult. That is why women tend to want someone higher than themselves. But no matter what conditions a woman has, many of them only look at the top 5% of men. Men who are actually exactly matched with the men from the same class and with similar conditions are usually not attractive to them. If we speak generally in China and say that 2 to 3 million yuan in family assets is one threshold, then if a woman's family does not have 2 million yuan in assets, she will want to find a man whose family has at least more than 3 million yuan. Only then will she feel that this marriage is meaningful to her. If a woman's family has 5 million yuan, then she wants to find someone whose family has 8 million to 10 million yuan. Only then will she feel relatively satisfied. And now, many women are influenced by fantasy stories and poisonous motivational chicken soup. After getting married, they do not want to do housework. They do not want to take care of children. They want a nanny. They do not want to live with the husband's parents. Every year, apart from Qingming Festival, they want to celebrate every holiday. And every holiday they want gifts. In this situation, they are basically cutting off their own path. How could this possibly be achieved? Think about it. It is like the entire male family, maybe even starting from the grandfather's generation, accumulated wealth over time. Then they marry a daughter-in-law who does not want to do housework at home, may even say she does not want to have children and only wants to buy things and travel everywhere. She wants to live that kind of life. Of course, it becomes hard to find someone. Even if she is willing to have 1 or 2 children, she still wants a nanny. In a city like Beijing, even the lowest level live-in nanny with food and accommodation included costs 7,000 to 8,000 yuan a month, and that only gets you an ordinary nanny. In a city at the level of Zhengzhou, you still need at least 5,000 yuan a month to hire a nanny, and you still need to provide food and accommodation. The cost becomes extremely high. To support a nanny, 2 children, plus the expenses of the husband and wife? Think about it. In a city like Zhengzhou, how much does a family need to earn in a year? You need a stable income of more than 400,000 yuan a year just to maintain household expenses. And this must last at least until the child graduates from graduate school around 25 years old. 400,000 yuan multiplied by 25 years is 10 million yuan in wages. In Zhengzhou, how many families and how many men can earn that kind of money? Even if such men exist, they are usually taken early by women who act proactively, and then they get married. The circulation rate of truly outstanding men is extremely low because there are too few of them, and they stand out clearly in the crowd. Women with a little experience can quickly recognize them, date them, and marry them. So the main issue with many women nowadays is that they are too greedy. For example, if they are truly matched in social class, if their family assets are around 2 million yuan, then they should find a boyfriend whose family assets are a little more or a little less than 2 million yuan. But most women are not satisfied with that. They completely look down on men from the same class. For example, if her family assets are 2 million yuan and she is young and full of fantasies, she may even want to find a man whose family assets are 6 million yuan. She thinks only that kind of man can be in the same class as her. But in reality, that man is at least 2 classes above her. If she has 5 million yuan, she wants someone with 15 million yuan. That man is also 2 classes above her. The ratio between his family assets and your family assets represents how many levels above you he is. And if you also want him to be handsome or have an especially good education, that is another major jump upward. Only then will she feel that she is not losing out. But this is impossible. If she herself is just average in the crowd, and when I say well-matched, I mean appearance, education, family background, and everything else packaged together, then she still wants the man to be at least twice as strong as her in assets. Only then will she feel that the marriage is worth it. That is simply too difficult. Some children among my relatives have now also reached marriageable age. But when it comes to people from the exact same class and family background as them, they completely look down on them. The other person must be at least 2 or 3 levels above them before they consider him within their selectable range. But the people within the range they consider selectable often feel that she is lacking in many aspects. This is one of the most important reasons why the number of older unmarried women is increasing sharply. It is women's instinctive attraction towards stronger men combined with the influence of some poisonous motivational content that has damaged their overall thinking. Actually, women nowadays generally have quite good education levels. But even if everyone had undergraduate degrees, or even if everyone had master's and doctoral degrees among the population, the people who truly have the ability to think clearly would still be the same group of people. Education and thinking ability are 2 different things. For people with poor cognition and poor learning ability, sometimes it is better for them not to think too much. Once they start thinking, they enter a misunderstanding. For example, why do those poisonous motivational articles and fantasy stories get such high views now? It is because they influence those so-called highly educated women. They make them unrealistically want to use marriage to raise their social class. I believe many of you have seen this kind of thing in real life. I am just sharing some thoughts because of this issue. If you disagree, we can discuss it in the comment section. Alright, thank you everyone. Please follow the channel. Thank you. Hello everyone! I am Warner. Near our home, there is a well-known older unmarried woman. The reason she is so famous is because her standards for choosing a partner are extremely strange. Her standards are these 4 points. First, the man must have a car, a house, and savings. Second, the man can have sisters, but he absolutely cannot have brothers. Third, after marriage, they cannot live with his parents. They must move out and live separately. Fourth, after marriage, she will not participate in anything related to his parents, including supporting them in old age. Actually, the first 2 requirements are something most of us can understand. As for the third requirement, I think many young women nowadays also hope to live separately after marriage and do not want to live with the man's parents. That is also understandable. But many men, after hearing the 4th requirement, immediately back away. Although many men came to meet her once they heard this condition, they were all scared away. Isn't this requirement basically saying that after marriage, the man has to cut off his relationship with his parents? Nowadays, among men who have reached marriageable age, there really are not many who can already have a house, a car, and savings. For many men, those things are given by their parents. Since the car and the house were both given by the parents, how can you push the responsibility of supporting those parents in old age onto someone else? Can you accept this kind of partner selection standard? Leave a comment below and tell me. So, behind today's discussion about older unmarried women marriage standards, family pressure, and the rising cost of relationships in China, what we really see is not just a personal dating problem. It is a reflection of a society where love, money, age class, housing, and family expectations are all tied together. For many women, marriage is no longer just about finding someone they love. It is also about security, social status, and whether the man can offer a better future. But for many men, marriage has also become a heavy financial burden, with houses, cars, bride price, childcare, and family responsibilities all arriving before the relationship has even truly begun. This is why more and more people are staying single. Some are too afraid to choose, some are waiting for someone better, some cannot afford marriage at all, and some only realize too late that time does not stop the market changes, and the choices they once had may never come back. So the real question is this: in today's China, are people unable to get married because they no longer believe in love, or because marriage has become too expensive, too demanding, and too calculated? What do you think? Are high standards protecting people from bad marriages, or are they making more people miss real happiness? Share your thoughts in the comment section. I really want to hear your opinion. If this video made you think, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who cares about Chinese society, marriage pressure, dating culture, and the changing lives of ordinary people in China. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Choose carefully. And I will see you again in the next video.